Hello and welcome to Pacific Northwest Gothic, a lyrical weird fiction podcast inspired by the Pacific Northwest. I'm your host, Elsie Clay, and I've been waiting for you. Please be advised, today's installment explores themes of organized religion and spirituality. As always, please take care, dear listener. But since it seems you have the time, I hope you'll come sit with me and a friend of mine in the dark for a little while.
Hey there, what can I get for you? Alright, can I see some ID, please? You got it.
Hey, is anyone sitting here? Thanks, appreciate it. Don't know if you're the talking or the listening type, so please tell me if I'm bothering you. It's just your eyes. The way you look. Oh no, sorry, no, I swear, I'm not trying to hit on you. It's just the way you look at things. Your gaze just holds everything it touches with a reverence, a rare consideration in the passing of moments, and I just have to ask, do you ever get that feeling, that buzz in the back of your brain, a question about a place, a building in the hands that built it up and made it real, calloused and blistered, darkening in the soot and sun, worn and weary by this, their great work never meant for them? Oh no. It wasn't working hands that owned things, but paper and symbols etched into cellulose, and now software and phones in this our abstracted existence. This place used to be a church, you know. Stone and brick, iron and mortar, earth and clay and earth, wood trim washed in empty white, dark-stained pews and paneling against a cold and sickly shade of cream, and the windows, latched into tiny slats into Tudor Revival diamonds unmatched, and heavy doors. They really don't make them like that anymore, do they? Solid, hallowed by the hands of craftsmen and hung with a weight and a warning signed into their gravity. Can you imagine it? The contrast of such a pious population with the chaos of a crowd like ours, seated in silence against this heavy din? Every face towards the pulpit, the dais, while we face our neighbors, our friends, our co-workers, our servers. The condensation pebbling on your glass alongside pebbled glass office windows just a step and a decade or three away from sweat pebbling upon a bishop's brow. Collars and hems stretching from neck to ankle, sleeves stretched to the wrist, pale, muted, modest fabric shifting, brushing in such hushed and luscious symphonies of muffled movement. Murmurs migrating through the pews in tempo with the parlance of a priest. And yet, Each utterance is an echo, each reply a fragment of a script rewritten from Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, and Arabic, and painted all again with a new tyrannical tongue, so out of tune and out of sync with this place newly reborn. Look around. We're wondrously overtaken by color and a cacophony of camaraderie and craft, from blends of cottons and linens and silks swept into movements of mauve, of viridian and ochre, of cadmium and cobalt. And here, now, we bare our flesh so loudly, crying pleasure from our lips, hunger from our hands, boldness from our bellies, and a chorus from the crowns of our heads and the timpani beat of the third ear inside our chests. A chorus that rings out with the hum of living, breathing bodies. From shoulder to collarbone to fingertips, from thigh to calf to heel, upon our scarred, tattooed, and healing canvases, and all in such myriad shades and tints as to fill an artist's palette with skin alone. If only I could watch these ghosts of solemn faces on a Sunday, congregating for nothing so much as carefully curated conversations dedicated to a single book, a word, a man, a religion, a sense of time and place born of tales and legends, men and myths more than 2,000 years old. If only I could watch them. Their faces as they look upon our Sunday crowd, discussing the metaphysics of fact and fiction, the infinite within the finite leaf of a book or a digital file, the impact of imagination writ into a game or drawn out upon a scrolling page, all touched by 1,000 different hands. If only I could watch them look out upon such ancient humanity as the breaking of bread and pouring of ale, the manual making of fine food and drink, the sanctity of sated hunger, and the soul that seeks to satisfy this cornerstone of civilization that is the need for gathering in this our communal, carnal, corporeal needs. If only I could watch these faces impassible, impalpable, these clocks of ether and memory, the change in their vaporous expressions as sexuality rolls across the tongues of the masses, liquid and placid, earnest in our practice, honest in our insight, of these our most ancient of customs, of these our most foundational traditions as a species, when once, not so long ago, we were in our infancy. If only I could watch these ghosts of faces long past as I raise my glass of wine to them in thanks. For it was them who brought cause to the workers to build such bright and burdened foundations, such sacred points of gathering among the common man. For it was them who made their own end within the doings and misdeeds of their congregation. For it was them who turned away from the pain of their neighbors. For it was them who took an ancient word of love and twisted it to write themselves a name of power and greed. For it was them, these ghosts, these hollow people, who drove so many out that they hollowed this place to its bones. No longer content to gnaw upon the rotting fruits of their malignant labors, before they would have stayed, made themselves groundkeepers of a hallowed house to this their man-made god of contradictions. But no, they began to fade into the fabric of their constricting ways, slithering and twining around themselves, retreating from a world that would find less and less use for such conditional community, for such hosts of soul starvation, for such pits of vainglorious vipers, for dens so depraved and deprived of human spirit. So, I raise my glass to them in appreciation of their failures, in pity for their poisonous pride, in sorrow for such senseless suffering and loss of human decency. And I raise my glass to you, stranger, for I think you see them too, these ghostly faces lost to time, and in this place made newly whole and hallowed by ever more touches of the human hands and human minds like yours and mine, who keep on building from the bones of those who leave things hollow. You want to close your tab? Yeah, we can totally do that for you. And there you go. Have a great night. Thank you for listening, dear stranger. This has been Pacific Northwest Gothic. If you like what you heard, I upload a new episode every Tuesday at 4 p.m. on Spotify, YouTube, and Substack. Speaking of which, I'd like to apologize again for the mistake I made a couple weeks ago, uploading the wrong episode for episode 3 on Spotify. I stayed up far too late the night before the release of that, and that clearly impacted my capacity to choose the correct file to upload. I did make an Instagram story to let folks know that I'd been made aware of the mistake and had fixed it, but for transparency's sake, I want to apologize and update folks on here as well. If you'd like to follow the podcast on Instagram so you can get updates like that and also be able to see the art I make for the podcast, you can find it on there under the handle at PacificNW Gothic. I just finished the piece for episode 3 last week, inspired by the moniker Eukaryotic Comrades in the Dust. It's all black and white, a nice high contrast piece, and I'm pretty proud of how it turned out, so please go check it out when you get a moment. And finally, if you'd like to support me and the work that I do, like, comment, leave a rating, follow, subscribe, share links to the episodes, and though I don't have much up on it yet, you can follow the link in the description to Pacific Northwest Gothic's Linktree, and through that, to our Patreon. I'm your host, Elsie Clay, hoping to sit with you in the dark again next week.